Welcome back to Interpop Podcast.
Yay!
Yay!
Welcome back.
Oh, and this week we're having a really... No, listen, we got to strap on our big boy pants. Big boy pants. It's serious conversation. Serious
Do we do that?
conversation. What is our sophisticated conversation, Ink?
Isa, you know, on a day-to-day here, we're pretty gay.
We're pretty gay. Happy Pride Month, y'all.
Happy Pride Month. That's good. On the day-to-day, you know how we do. But today we are getting a little more serious with it. And we're in our usual music industry element, but we're talking about sort of being queer and presenting yourself and how you present yourself in a very sort of hostile industry for really kind of all queer people.
Yeah. And to that effect, too, like people in general, but especially queer people.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to say that because the truth is it's just a hostile industry, period.
Right.
But doubly so when you start adding all of these layers into it.
Exactly.
And so we're kind of exploring that through our music industry lens. So come along on our journey, guys. And the truth is, just, you guys know we like an asterisk. Asterisk.
Yes.
Around here. Party people know we love that. So, just sort of include one right here, just to say, we know it's a really big overarching topic, and there's a lot, and this could really just go on for weeks, if not months, to really address everything. So just bear in mind that this is a little snapshot of the conversation as a whole. We're taking just the littlest portion here to talk about today.
It's the littlest snack out of a larger meal.
Yes.
Out of a grand king's feast.
Exactly.
It's the tiniest nibble of cheese.
The nibblest of cheese. And before we get into that, just real quick, because it is Pride Month, and in case nobody has told you guys yet, I love you. You're doing wonderful. Get a big just pat on the back. Pat yourself all the way on the back. You're doing an excellent job. Keep going. So.
Those pats felt pretty good.
Yeah, good.
I needed that. I'm glad.
So I had to get that out of the way first, which you guys know we have that positivity anyways, but I just throwing out there before we get into some of the ups and downs.
Yeah. Well, let's get into those ups and downs. Are we starting with the ups or the downs?
I guess we should start with the downs maybe and then go up. I don't know.
That's fair. Question. That's fair.
And then we can pick it back up we don't want to end on the downer, do we?
Right. No, we don't want to do that. We don't want it to be a sad Pride Month.
No, we don't.
Pride Month.
It's a happy Pride Month. Yes. Yes, I like that. This is good. The question is how to start with the downs.
Where to begin? There are so many.
There is so many. I guess initially, right, the idea for this episode was slightly more artist-centered, right, where we were gonna do our usual sort of breakdown, but that didn't feel quite right of just picking some artists and breaking things down that way. And we just wanted to have a conversation with everybody and with us. But in doing my research, I kind of stumbled my way into this concept of how it's really not concept, because obviously, well, I mean, yes, I stumbled my way into the thought process of this is the view I wanted to talk about. It was maybe the way I should phrase that.
Yeah.
Yeah. of it's really it's difficult to be yourself, right, on a day-to-day basis. It just is for a variety
Hmm.
of reasons. But when you're in an industry where everything is so decided for you a lot of the times, and you kind of have to walk the road that's sort of expected of you, especially both as queer artists and even like actors or actresses, or I don't know if there's a gender neutral term for that. Acto.
I think still
Anyway,
just actor. I know
actor.
there was one big push a
Right.
while back where people were like, "Oh, we don't want to use actress anymore because people look down on that, so let's just
Yes,
all
what's the
use
point?
actor."
Everybody is an actor. I'm gonna say it as actor specifically. I'm just
I
kidding.
feel
That's
like
like
it's all encompassing enough. Actor.
it is. It's fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
right. And so to that end, I ended up going down the road of artists who are unapologetically themselves, but not in
Hmm.
a way that's very I hate to use the word showy because that's not the one I want and that's wrong. But you know what what is the word I
Right.
want?
Um, I guess not really like flashy, but like I guess like centering their queerness. I know that's not a term, but like I feel like that can be part of where it comes from.
But yeah, but this the centering, not that existing outside of like this is my one and only identity trait.
Right. Which like there's nothing wrong with wanting to
Nope.
be a queer artist, but
Hmm.
like where their queer is the center focus. But that doesn't, but and it's not like queer people saying this, but like from an industry standpoint, a queer artist is a queer artist and not like an
Right.
artist who also happens to be queer. As in
Right.
like a straight artist are typically an artist that also happens to be straight, you know?
Yeah, they're just like it's there. And it's especially in an industry where, and this is not just like relegated to queerness or any of the like, because even with straight stories that we're telling with like music videos, for example, right?
Hmm.
Everything is really in your face and sexualized and like over the top, anyways, at the
Right.
moment. And don't get me wrong, it's not a new thing. It's not
No.
like, you know, but it is at the moment really prevalent, especially when you're looking internationally and looking at things like BLs, for example, right?
Right.
And it's just a very bit, it's like an interesting sort of dichotomy where it's like, I've seen people be a lot more accepting of, for example, the BLs or things like that, if it's spicy. Like, okay,
Mm,
that's
yeah.
fine.
It's like we
But
can
just,
overlook the stuff because that
right.
part's entertaining. It's the whole the concept of sex cells.
Right, 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 right.
Yeah.
And so I immediately started thinking about artists that I know who are embodying their queerness, but in just a natural way without that lens, which is, I don't want to say hard to find because obviously I know several, but it's just different.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like two things I kind of want to say there. One, backtracking slightly, where I feel like because of that queer focused lens, and because of a lot of the way that people see, especially when it comes to like queerness in terms of well queerness in general, but also like kind of especially with sexuality, because it is someone's sexuality,
Hmm.
people take just the word, they just see the sex part of the sexuality and they're like, okay,
Yeah.
so gay equal sex, yes, understood. So
Yeah.
those get kind of mushed in, and a lot of times, it'll stem from homophobia. Sometimes it just stems from genuinely just like equating those things together because that's primarily what's being thought about whenever you talk about someone's sexuality, right?
Yeah, well,
But
and yeah. Yeah. And yeah.
but the other thing I was gonna say too, is I feel like where it seems like a lot of queer people who don't center their queerness or even center their like sexuality, not sexuality as in who they're attracted to, but sexuality as in like bumping and grinding sexuality.
Mm.
um it seems like and yeah, there might be some examples I'm just not really thinking of right now because my brain is mush, I'm not gonna lie. But it feels like a lot of artists that don't center that focus either like on this is how I'm queer or I want to bump and grind kind of get pushed a little to the wayside. But I
Hmm.
feel like that can also be true for a lot of artists in general,
Yeah. Yeah.
depending on like especially the genres you're in and stuff. But
Hmm.
I feel like you see that a lot too in a queer space.
I think you do. I think you're absolutely kind of nail on the head there as far as like just in general that does get pushed off to the side for that's what sells. This is what we got to do. This is the way it has to be to get it to be, XYZ whatever, which is just not necessarily the case. Like there's so many beloved artists, not necessarily, just queer ones or non-queer ones or whatever, but just artists in general who don't hit that specific lens and are just beloved.
Yeah. Like
But
it's
that's
not necessary. There's also
yeah,
nothing wrong with enjoying
nothing wrong
that
with it.
kind of thing as long
Nope.
as everything's respectful and consensual. Yeah, absolutely. Y'all go
Get the
off. Go have
heavy on the
fun.
consensual.
Heavy on the
Yeah,
consensual and healthy. Heavy on the healthy
the
too.
healthy. Well,
Mentally and
yeah.
physically and everything. Like just
Mm,
take care of yourselves.
mm-hmm,
Okay?
mm-hmm.
We all good. Take care of everybody around you. Everything's fine. It's fine.
Right, right, right. Yeah, we don't. That's toxicity. We
Yeah.
don't need. Don't be. I was about to make a really unfortunate callback to Not Me and say don't be black, but then that would have not been good.
Out of context.
Out of
Out of
context.
context.
Terrible.
Terrible. Nobody clip that.
Terrible. Nobody clip that, please.
It's a character, everyone. Just
It
and
is
for
a
anyone who didn't
character
listen to that
from
episode, yeah.
yes, it's twins. There's one is black, one is white, and also in that context, don't be white either, but
Yeah.
only if you
Not
understand
racially.
the context.
Their names.
Not racially.
It's their names.
Names. I had to remind myself, give context first. Because
Yes.
the point is, don't be toxic to your people, is the point
Yeah.
we were getting at there.
That's the important message.
We just recently did this video, so it's fresh in my mind, guys. Or not the video, the podcast. We watched the show. Anyways, but that's where my mindset was at when I was doing the research for it, right? Just because there were a lot of artists that came to my head that I listened to frequently, more immediately came to my head, I should say, who do hit that sort of specific lens. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, I listen to them daily. I see them daily and I love like what they're doing and claiming that space and all of those things. But I also in the same turn wanted to celebrate the people who view things in a different lens because it's almost like they don't, like you said, get pushed to the side a little bit where it's not the same level of love or maybe not of appreciation for it.
Right.
I don't know.
It doesn't yeah. Yeah. There's less of a latching on to them, I feel like, from a wider audience, I guess.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
because I immediately thought of Sarah Solola, who is a Thai artist. She's a singer, of course. Who, if you guys don't know her, go listen to her music. She has just a phenomenal voice. It's very soothing, and I could listen to her forever. Even just speaking, excellent. Just
It's
good
very
quality voice.
velvety.
It is very
Very
velvety.
velvety.
It's great. It's excellent. And I thought of her immediately though, because she embodies this vibe at all times of just every day. Like, just chill. Her hair's up all the time, but like not up in like a like she's thrown that up in like a bun. Not even like the messy bun style. It's just like pulled back out of the face, right? And like the day-to-day clothes that like I could pull out of my closet. Like I'm sure I've got an outfit that looks like what she's wearing on a day-to-day, right? Like it's that quality of like looking at someone and being like me. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
feeling very much on the same level. But that's the exact same vibe that she has in her music videos as well, right? And the way
Right.
that she portrays specifically the lesbian relationships is the same sort of vibe, even if it's like heartbreak song or like trying to like with Gamble, her song, the music video, trying to portray this feeling of like having the crush and do you take your shot and like all of these things. And it's just a very unsexualized I guess, lens to these relationships that I feel like especially these days with like if you're talking about Thailand and BLs and GLs and a lot of the artists right now hit that lens versus hers. Again, nothing wrong with that. Love them. Plus all the healthy things, you know, like there's asterisks
Right.
there. But like right. But in a way that she just doesn't do. It's very different. And I love it so much because it's just it makes me feel comfortable.
Yeah. It
You
feels
know?
like it's just very it I because watching those music videos, right, when you're showing them to me, there was almost kind of a like there wasn't much like home actually taking place, but
No.
something about it felt very homey. You know what
Yes.
I mean?
It
It felt very
feels
soft. It felt very comfy.
like how people describe fall in like Vermont or some nonsense, you know? Like it just feels
Yeah.
like cozy. Like in Massachusetts or something.
Feels like the description I hear every time someone says the sentence, I really want to put in a book nut
Oh
and then
yeah.
etc. And that's what it felt like. It felt like the description passed there. I was like, yeah, that sounds really comfy. Are you ever going to actually do that?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You should. I would. But are you?
What?
Probably not, Susan. Probably not.
Catching strays. Book Nook is definitely a great description of it, though, and that's just the vibe I feel from her all the time. She's really funny, though, and is also that's the vibe I get from a lot of her stuff. But also, she's just very what's even the best way to describe it? I think just very straightforward, maybe. I don't think that's the word I want, but like this is my vibe and this is how I am and like this is this. And
Right.
but
Kind
without
of
but
kind of
like
earnest.
not saying it though, you know?
Oh,
Like
right. Okay.
it's not a statement that's ever made. It's just this is the way that I am and there's no other like I'm not, I'm not changing that. I'm not
Right.
commentating on it. There's none of that. It's just here I am.
Unapologetic,
Right.
open, like all these things kind of working in tandem.
Right. And it's because it's this great also mix of like just the way she presents herself is this kind of great mix of like more masculine leaning but also like very much embracing the femininity. So it's like it again it's just cozy. Like just the
Right.
style even.
It just feels like a person.
Yes,
You know what
yes.
I mean?
Which is how it should feel. Like I should like, if that's the vibe we're going for, of course. If that's not the vibe we're going for, then ignore that entirely.
Right.
But like,
If you want to be an ethereal being, be an ethereal being. Be a blah, blah, blah. But like,
yeah, I'm
but if you
gonna
want to be a person,
be mad at you for it, but in the best way, in just the best way. You know what I mean?
be
Like,
like, I
how
wish that
dare
were
you look
me.
that good in front of me and my tea? No.
How dare you?
Dare
Sinful.
you? But yeah, I just immediately thought of her just because of how that vibe, her vibe is just being, for me, is just like being enough. That how she is and who she is enough. And like
Yeah,
that's
like
that's what I get from the videos.
she's very comfortable in who she is. She
Yes.
knows who she is. It feels like she's almost happy, like just kind of just like happy, just chilling. Except full, not acceptable, accepting. That's the word.
Mm,
Accepting of like who she is and what she is, being a part of who she is, rather than it kind of defining who she is.
exactly. Yeah. I think that's a
Yeah.
really good way of describing it for sure. But she's delightful. And so just side little plug, if you guys want to check her out, definitely do so. Her music is wonderful, very relaxing, cozy vibe, like we said.
Mm-hmm.
And there are similar artists to her, like Double Bam. Love her as well, who hits a similar sort of vibe, and is just amazingly talented. And the two of them, along with an additional girly, all part of the queerness, went on just a fantastic interview. Just the quickest of plugs here. Just go watch this interview, guys, because it's hilarious. There's a YouTube channel called Tom D Ton, Tom Dundee, I believe. Actually, Tom Dundee. I'll have to double check that. Anyways, and it's hosted by three Tom women, which is like sort of Thai slang. It's like a play on words of like the tomboy. Tom is short for tomboy, and
Mm.
so the opposites, the like more feminine, are the D. And so, but it's hosted by three of the Tom women, and they did this interview with Sarah Solola and Double Bam and another one, I believe, and it's hilarious, and is very much a good way to like get that vibe of who they are and just existing in the world and all the things. So go check that out too. Quick plug. Sorry. Moving on.
Important plugs here, people. You better listen.
Complex. We had to
You
get
better
we
go
have to
watch
get a
it.
shout out to a good, because it's there is a funny YouTube channel too, so go check them out. I mean, who doesn't want to watch the three Tom women doing wonderful things? I'm just saying.
Exactly.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
But so there was that. That was my like immediate thought into the conversation, just like thinking of being yourself in an industry where sometimes you get kind of not cornered per se, because obviously artists do have a lot of control and like what they say and do in some cases, but just being different in that industry is what I thought of. But unfortunately,
Yeah.
that's not the case for everybody. Some people do feel, I think, more pigeonholed in the industry, both in like music and in acting.
Right. Right. So you get for a lot of people, it's like it's either a case of like this is technically what these weirdo producers signed you up for, or it's a case of well, bills got to get paid. The
Well,
rent is due.
especially if you're talking about older generations where things were different, especially in the industry, which is maybe not saying a lot because it took a long time for things to change, but you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Because it's historically been, a little rough.
A little rough. A
A
little
little rough.
rough to say the
Just a
least,
little
for
rough,
sure. Yeah.
to say the least. Yeah, yeah. Just a little bit difficult. Like early like 2000s, even like 2010s was not a great time to
Mm-mm.
be
Pretty pretty
just
predatory.
indulged, right? Yeah, yeah, it's not great. Well, and because here's the thing too, though, like, right, you are also coming off that time prior of like the AIDS epidemic, right?
Hmm.
So to also then be queer in those spaces and like public spaces after all of that, I can only imagine must have been really anxiety ridden.
And very sorrowful, I could imagine.
Yes, very, very sorrowful because for those of you who may not know, by the end of the 90s, there were like what 30 some plus million people just in America, I think, who were living with it somebody will
I
have
want
to
to
check
say
my numbers
that's
on that, but maybe I feel
um
like I need to do a little digging, but it was I want to say by even prior to the end of the 90s. It was
um
by okay, this says by 97, roughly 30 million adults and kids had it. So that
yeah,
okay, I was close.
yeah. But it's
And that's just people who were living who had it.
right, right. Because it makes me tear up every time I see, elder gay people
Yeah.
speak about how there's not many of them.
No,
There's not that many around. And
there's
there's
not.
not that many to, pass down wisdom and advice like elders do in communities because
Hmm.
there's very large queer communities, and there's not many elders to pass down that wisdom, to pass down those stories because so many of them passed away at such early ages.
Yeah, such early ages cuz these are I mean, these were affecting kids too. Like
Mhm.
for a variety of reasons, right? Depending on it's thing about that entire thing is just sorrowful, and that's even from just like a normal standpoint, right? That's just people going on
Mhm.
their normal day-to-day business, and then to imagine being thrown on top of that somebody in the public light who's trying to either deal with maybe having it or knowing somebody who has it or trying to keep that part of their lives secret to avoid any blowback or you like it's I just
Right.
can't imagine.
And it's
But
just because not only do you have to deal with the stigma, first up and foremost, of being gay if somebody finds out, then you also have to deal with the stigma that comes from having AIDS
right,
on top of that.
right, right.
It's a double whammy, and things only ever got better, and anything was ever done about the AIDS epidemic when it started affecting more not queer people.
That part, heavy on that part. And the people who have since done a lot of the work to try and make things better and still are doing it have been the queer people. I mean,
Yep.
not even necessarily just because they watched their people pass away, which they did, but just because it's not just something that affects that community and it needs to have all of those channels open, right? And I found while doing research for this actually an artist in Thailand, both a musician and an actor who was Thailand's first goodwill ambassador for UNAIDS, and that was back in like
Oh.
2016, and it just made my heart really
Oh,
happy. But like sad that it was like 2016, like that's so long
2016.
after the fact.
But hey,
To be
listen,
first,
better
like
late than never.
Yes,
Oh,
yes. But like first in 2016 is like, wow, that's a while. But okay.
it's a while.
But yes, better late than never.
It puts a lot in perspective for sure.
It puts a lot into perspective. And so I went down a whole rabbit hole about this man, right? Because that's interesting.
That's very interesting. Yes, explain yourself.
So I came across this man. So I went digging. I went down a rabbit hole on him. He's kind of fascinating. His name is Ben Chalatit. I should have Googled how to say that better. I'm sorry. I'm going to say Chalatit, but I'm going to call him Ben. He debuted like back in 2005, just to put that into perspective for you real quick. Just to
Yeah.
throw that out there. 2005. I don't recall what I was
Been
doing in 2005.
eating animal crackers. I don't know.
Literally. Literally. And he's kind of cool because he was one of the like I think sort of first publicly out Thai artists and actors back in like the early
Oh.
2010s or something. But the catch was that I found that was really interesting when he was talking about it, and he said nobody, like, he never denied that he was gay, but nobody ever asked him because at that point in the music industry nobody was putting a microphone up to him and asking about sexual orientation. And I just kind of sat with that for a second and I was like, huh, the fact that that is an interview question is kind of wild.
It is. Cause why does it matter? and that
Right.
and
What?
that's where I go back to the whole the industry push of like this centering like a person's queerness as of for entertainment. It's getting a little dance monkey dance. I don't
And
like it.
that's why when you were bringing that up, I immediately thought of him because I was like, yeah, that's weird, but it's so centered. It's so centered. And why? For what? What does knowing that about somebody really do for you? Like, how does that change their music? How does that change their acting? How does that change what they're doing in the industry? And it
Exactly.
doesn't.
Exactly. It doesn't. It's like it's just that like, oh, you're different from the norm. That's interesting. Now I have a little bit of intrigue. What do you do in the bedroom? What do you do with your butthole? You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah. Yeah. And
there's a
why?
lot of people that have a lot of weird questions. And I'm like, you know what? That part of that person's not really that important. Now, is it? Do I ask you what you could do in your bedroom? I don't think so. Why would I do that? That's weird. Why is it okay
That part.
whenever he's gay? Huh?
Because it makes no difference. And so, like, he was saying, right, like back then, because of course news was different back then, right, and how things were reported and how things circulated because we didn't
Mm-hmm.
have social media, right, like that in like 2005
Right.
onward, right? And how he was talking about like having never denied it, but also that he would hang out with his boyfriend in public a lot. You just had to see him out with his boyfriend and know. But now people just kind of read it on social media, and I was like, that's also weird because why do we have to read it on social media either?
Right. This because like a queerness in terms of and it always listen, I am such a hater because it always comes back to capitalism for me, right? But it's
Mm,
because queerness has become a product. It is. Look at rainbow
yeah,
capitalism every June. And then you can even look
and
at
it's bare
how
minimum.
queer it's bare minimum. And even
It's
look
not
at how
even good
queer artists are
capitalism.
marketed. They're
Yeah,
being
yeah.
marketed with their queerness. Like it's marketing. It's capitalism. They're just selling queerness. In the same way that they sell like blackness. They're just it's this concept of a human being that they're like,
We'll
hey,
get to
people are
that
really
too.
pushing for this.
That's another
But like people are
conversation.
really pushing for this. That this is what
Yeah.
everyone's talking about. So let's also, put it out there with our money dollars, so people give us money dollars because it's the topic they're interested in right now. And that's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
sad thing it boils down to a lot. Not entirely boils down to, but that is a massive part of it.
No, and because things do feel really like contextualized, right, in terms of like what's acceptable and when it's acceptable. And like, for example, right, like I've been watching for BLs, for example, right, for years, or any
Hmm.
just sort of queer thing for years, right, like for near the entirety of my life,
Right.
in all kinds of formats, right, like not necessarily just BLs, but even like theater and stuff, right,
Yeah.
and now I've noticed this interesting phenomenon with this heated rivalry thing that's out, where now I'm seeing on a lot of, not a lot of, most near every like gay thing where people are commented like, "Oh, heated rivalry." Like this is just everywhere, and I'm like, okay, so now we're
Yeah.
suddenly okay. Like, huh?
Uh-huh.
Like you've got
Yes.
one hyped up show movie. I don't even know what it is. I haven't seen it, and I don't know if it's good or not. And maybe it's great, but like
I
the
think
point
it's a
is, like you
show.
get there's one thing that people have grabbed onto, and
Hmm.
now suddenly we're cool.
Yeah,
What?
yeah. And like seeing it, I was like from because I haven't watched it, right? But from what I've seen about it just feels like, not to say the West doesn't have BL, you know what I mean? But not
No,
as like one big
it's not the
like
thing.
category type
Yeah.
thing, right? It's not a thing here. This is what heated rivalry feels like. It feels like the start of Western BL. Like that's gonna become a big thing
Mhm.
here now with Western, like American actors. That's
It
what it
does.
feels like is going to happen.
And I think like there was some groundwork laid for it with Simon something. So it's a PSA. I don't remember what it's called. And then something like Heartstopper, maybe. I don't know. There are a couple things on
Yeah,
Netflix. Point being,
Heartstopper, and
that's one of
then
them, right? And then
was
I
it
cannot.
like yes,
Yes,
please,
Simon,
yes,
maybe.
please,
Please,
Simon? Yeah,
yes,
I
yes. I don't.
something I know
Something
exactly
about
what you're
Simon.
talking
You
about.
know what I'm talking about? Yes. I never watched these either. Not necessarily that I think they're like horrible or terrible or I don't want to watch the Western queer stories, but like the stories themselves did not appeal to me. Like the actual plot did not
Yeah,
appeal to me. Like I wouldn't have
at the
watched
same
those if they
thing.
were straight either. Like it didn't appeal to me
Yeah,
personally.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it felt like we had a little groundwork laid, but it didn't have the same traction. And now suddenly we had the heated rivalry thing, and then it's like everywhere, and people are like, and I'm seeing comments on things that have, or like even other like BL shows or like the what MLM shows or like whatever, compare like commenting or comparing, and it's like, but not everything is
Hmm.
that, and these stories have
Oh,
existed for a long time, and it feels weird to me to get
right.
those comments. I know it's not that deep, but it also is.
Which I could also have like an interesting conversation, and I'm sure it'd be more interesting if I actually went and watched the show. But I've seen little tidbits of things. I feel like there could also be an interesting conversation, not that we're having it today, of like the fact that it's a hockey show.
Yes. See,
There's
yeah,
there's stuff to talk about there.
there's a lot of stuff to talk
we're
about
not
there. A
we're not
lot of
going
stuff to
down
talk
there
about
right
there.
now, but
Maybe,
there's a lot to
maybe this
talk
is
about
another
there.
episode we have to do so we can be better informed to have that conversation. But we
Right.
said it earlier. We put the asterisk out there. This is a giant umbrella, and we're picking one little raindrop. So like,
Yes.
it's a big thing. But but that brings me to the point that like the way it's suddenly everywhere, but only through this one lens, when for years other countries have been making so much queer content, just in general, really.
Hmm.
But we've got this one the Western show, and it's like, I don't know. I don't know. Like I feel like if we were gonna do the comparisons things, we could bring up other I don't know. There's a whole conversation to
Yeah.
be had there, and I don't want to go down that road at the moment. But like, point being, for a long time in the acting world, I feel like, especially in the Western world, with queer actors, you kind of only saw a handful of, well, stereotypes.
Yes. Stereotypes, and I feel like queerness is also always, at least here in the West, almost always tied in with tragedy. You can't
Yes.
have a queer person be happy. It can't be a
No.
happily ever after. That's so incredibly rare.
They can't
It's
just
either
be
just
normal.
sassy gay friend,
Yes.
stereotype, like the almost like the Key and Peele skit, right? Or you
Yeah.
have like um literally, oh, you're in love. Oh, now your boyfriend dies. Cry about it.
Yes. And here's the
Or you
interesting,
die. I don't know.
yeah, someone die or you both die. I don't, there's like literally
Hmm.
there's levels to that. But the catch is, right, that the in the Eastern world, no, really just in the Asian world specifically, honestly, these stories have been growing for a long time. Like with the
Hmm.
BL, for example, like different countries have their own sort of versions and things. And these are stories that have been around for years and years at this point and have been, they have their own stereotypes and their own list. And like that's a whole other thing to go down, right? But
Right.
like it's been a thing for ages. But I'm trying to think of the way I want to phrase this. But just ignored by the Western world, not by fans, but
Yeah.
the industry, right?
It's
Like,
another bandwagon. It's just another
yeah.
bandwagon that people are hopping on the queerness bandwagon. They're hopping
Well,
specifically on the BL bandwagon.
right, because
It's
look, on
the
Netflix,
bland
they've
wagon.
started showing Thai BLs, and I'm not talking like, you know, like they've had a couple over the years here and there randomly, like a Taiwanese movie out at one point. Like there are a couple
Hmm.
here and there randomly, right? But no, they've now started picking up old ones that are like beloved that people have watched over the years that like we had to watch 4 parts to one episode at a time on YouTube, or we had to watch like pirated off some like the Daily Motion or whatever because we couldn't get it anywhere else with subtitles, or like these things that people have been watching for
Hmm.
years, right? And in the trenches trying to get this content. And now it's just all on Netflix. And I'm like, this is so weird to see these shows that I
It's
like what's happening?
it's and see, and this one runs in tandem, right? It is two different things. It is both the Asian bandwagon and
Right.
the BL, like
It
the
does.
gay
You're right.
bandwagon,
It's hitting
because
both.
it's literally it started with anime, it went to
Yes.
K-pop, and
Yep.
now they're coming for your Thai BLs.
Right. It's hitting. You're right. It's they've crossed over. They said, "Ooh, Asian and gay," and they
They're like, this sells.
you
It
said gay
sells.
Asians
We love
say
throwing
less. Yeah.
Asian people on a screen and saying, dance, monkey, dance. Gay people on the screen say, dance, monkey, dance. And it's entertaining.
But it's
That's
like
my TED Talk.
but it's ridiculous though, right? Because it's gonna obviously, as Netflix does, and things are they're gonna like put this on here for a little while, and then it's gonna. But it's just funny to me because they're picking shows that have like been out for ages, right? Like we saw these as
Right.
they were coming out week by week because that's how the Thai BLs release. They do that shit week by week. You gotta wait for the whole thing to release and do it in your part one, part two, part three, part four. But it's like we've seen these all, right? It's so like some people might be going to rewatch them, but for as long as most of these have been out, they've been rewatched multiple times. Like why here, why?
Right. It's because there's a
Anyways,
whole new audience.
whole new audience apparently. But point circling back around because I got slightly off topic. Sorry. We started getting a little bit more into the acting world. But to your
Years.
point about like when we were bringing up the stereotypes, to your point about like
Hmm.
the sassy stereotype or whatever, the like gay best friend is about the
Hmm.
only way that you get the happy ending. And it's not even a happy ending, it's just a happy character, right?
Yeah, it's just a happy character.
It's
That's
sort
it.
of. I mean, there's
No
usually a lot of
ending.
trauma there, but like
That's true.
That's the only way you get, no death or whatever. And
Right.
is also a trope that is popular all over the world, not just in the Western world, not just in America. And to circle back to Ben real quick, just because this is a great segue tie-in, he had in an interview from like back in like 2015 or whatever, right? Just to put a little context on that. Like, this is not a recent interview. Yes, I did some research on him, don't worry. He said, as an actor, I don't want to play that sassy homo, like, quote unquote, anymore. And I've had enough. And I hope I get to play something else so people will see me in a new light. Even back then, in 2015, and still we're seeing the exact same thing. Like, nothing's different at all. Like, it
It
does, like,
doesn't change.
people are expressing they want different parts. People are writing different parts, right? You can see them all over, like fan fictions or novels or web novels or whatever, right? They're there. We're just not
Right.
making them.
Yeah. The content exists.
The content's there. It's not that hard. It's
It's
there.
not that hard. Why are you
The problem,
picking all the wrong things? Stop it.
all the wrong things. But anyways, so I love that about him. So just to circle back around to the original point, because our thread here, our original conversation, right, is being yourself, essentially, kind of in that representation and being representing yourself the way you want to represent yourself. My favorite thing about this man, in the quote in that same 2015 interview, said, I don't want everybody to see me as this fabulous gay icon. I want everyone to treat me as a normal person. You don't necessarily have to put a crown on my head and regard me as an icon. And then in the same interview, I never considered myself special. That's a lie we keep telling ourselves. If you follow my Instagram, you'll see my lifestyle is pretty simple. I like staying home in my boxer shorts. And honestly, I felt that.
Same.
I, yes.
I too enjoy being home in my boxer shorts.
Exactly. If you don't enjoy being home in your boxer shorts, it's because you've never tried it.
Exactly. You just haven't found the right pair.
You haven't. You gotta keep testing them out. Maybe
I'm starting to
it's
sound like a
habit.
straight person. Wait.
A little bit. Got a little questionable for a second there.
Oops. Sorry.
but 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 I love that mentality though, that he was like, I just want to exist. And I don't need to be, you know, celebrated for
Right.
having come out. In his words, he said, we that's another form of inequality, was essentially what he said. And he just wants to get to the point where everyone's equal. And I really sat with that portion of the interview for a long time.
Yes.
Because again, here we are 10 years later, 10 plus later, 11. And it's like,
Because
still.
it's going back to like, I said this in a previous episode, and I don't quite remember which one it was, where, because we were talking about something with idols, right? And I said basically, idolizing somebody is still dehumanizing them, right? And it holds true for this as well, because it's also, you're idolizing his queerness. You're putting him up on a pedestal to look at the queerness and go, wow, look at that. You know what I mean? That's still dehumanizing. That's not
It's not
that's not
actually
seeing
being
him as a person. Yeah. But it has this false positivity to it, because it's like, oh, but it's, everyone's complimenting it, and people are like, whoa, that's really cool. And like, just because it's a compliment doesn't make it actually nice. It's
That-
like when somebody
that-
is like, oh, you're pretty for a black girl, which is a common thing that gets said in the American South. That's not a nice thing to say, but they'll act like it is. Like it's a compliment. No, it's not.
That's backhanded at best. Like it's
At best.
best because it's not. It's just not. There's nothing about that that's positive in any way, shape, or form. And why we felt the need to say that sentence out loud, most often to children, might I add
Most
you,
often, yeah.
it's
Because adults
insane.
won't take it, and
No.
they know
Yes.
adults won't take it.
Yep. That part.
Some adults
That
do
part.
because they have to. You know what
Well,
I mean?
yeah, or maybe
But
in like the public service workers, but that's a
right.
that's a different thing, sort of. But it's just, I don't know. I
You gotta use your empathy skills. You gotta think about how your actions are affecting another person
mhm,
past like just a bare base level. You know what I mean? Like you have to
mhm.
actually, you gotta not in like a mean like, oh, people are just stupid. That's not what I'm saying. But like whenever something isn't a part of your life, you don't think about a lot of the nuance behind it. More people need to think about and actually look at and care about that nuance. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Nuance is asking a lot of some people. I just want
It is.
nuance is asking a lot of people who don't necessarily work common sense the way they're supposed to. And I'm not in trying to insult people, but like
No, because some people genuinely just don't think past it because they have their own life and they're
mhm,
focused on like what's going on with them and what
mhm,
they're trying to get done. And like it's something that isn't directly tied to them in their mind. So they're not thinking about it, even though it is tied to them, whether they like it or not. Because if you live in a society, everything else that's affecting the people around you, especially on like a legal, like government level, is also affecting you in one way or another. It does. It gets to
right.
you too. Don't worry. You'll suffer as
Don't
well.
worry.
Like if you knew about the nuance,
Right.
if you looked at the nuance, you would know. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
You would.
I'm just gonna
Yes.
pop those peepers open for a minute, buddy.
Not the peepers. Open them wide. Open wide. Oh,
Oh.
now I
Yeah,
have
a
that
problem for
song.
one in a society is usually a problem for all. And it's just
Yes.
kind of how that goes.
Well, that part. But the catch is that if if that one is not a problem for certain people, then it's completely disregarded.
Right. Right.
At best. At disregarded
Because
at
they don't feel like it
best.
touches them in any way.
Right.
They're like, well, I don't
Hmm.
feel like it affects me at all, so
Right.
why should I care?
So what difference does it make? And it's like, okay, well,
Weird.
also don't clip that. Don't.
We're giving y'all a lot of good clips these
We're giving her
past
a lot of
couple
clips
weeks, I
today.
swear.
Whoops.
No, oops.
Need a little more
Oh,
tea before we start improvising. Fine. But to see people like Ben and Sarah just existing in an industry that's so I'm trying to
yeah.
think of a nice word to say about
Oh no, that was
it.
the perfect way to describe it. Was
Okay,
just that sigh right there. That was
right.
like picture perfect.
Yeah. It gives me this sort of glimmer of hope almost that
Hmm.
like at a certain point maybe it's not a conversation that we'd have to have. Like that it's
Right.
not notable in any way, shape, or form because it shouldn't be as not strange, but it shouldn't be
Right.
as novel to have to talk about it in an interview that like or noted on a blog post that look somebody's
Hmm.
looking at videos or whatever music videos or that kind of thing that like
Right.
they're just doing their thing that it's is as commonplace as artists who are taking the more expected route. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Queerness should be normalized. And I know
That
that sounds a little
it
contradictory
does a little.
based on the definition of the word queer.
It does. It
But
sounded a little.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, it did sound a little. It
Yeah.
did. But that's okay. It's fine. It's good. It's the spirit that
Oh,
counts.
it's the spirit
The
that
spirit.
counts.
The spirit is willing.
Um,
But
well,
that's that's on the opposite end of the spectrum, right? Like, because that's one thing to note. But on the other side of things, I feel like maybe it's right, I guess, if we flip the conversation and look also kind of at the other side of things a little bit, kind of.
the the embracing. Well, not really embracing, but like the self projection.
Right.
Not self projection.
That.
You know what I mean? Not like
Yes.
you
That's
know
not the
when
word
people
I
are like, oh,
wanted,
you're
but
self
yes.
yeah,
Right, right,
but
right.
like like separate those, separate them or something. Like put a hyphen or like I don't know.
Put
I
a
don't know
little,
how to do this, but just
put
like
the like the
put a pause.
but get the
Put
semicolon. Get a little
uh
like we're
a
attached but not quite.
projection, a
Yeah.
projection of one's queer self.
Mm.
Yes, that's
Yes. Yeah.
it sounds dumb, but
It
it
does
makes
sound
more
dumb.
sense to what I'm trying to say. Somebody
Uh,
who's choosing to make the
yes.
queer aspect the more prevalent
Yes.
aspect.
Who is embracing that particular
Yes.
path, road? I don't know what I want to say. Yes, because I feel like that's only appropriate, right? Like we're hitting one little raindrop, but I feel like we could at least hit both sides of said raindrop because we've already
Yeah.
established appreciation for both sides. And so, to that end, I think maybe we bring up one more artist.
Let's do it.
All right. So just quickest of little blurb. Blurb? Quick blurb? I don't
Blurb.
like that word. Blurb.
Blurb, blurb.
Quick bullet point? I don't know. Fuck it. Um, backstory? Backdrop? The fuck am I trying to say right now?
Uh
Biographics. A quick little bio is
yeah,
what I'm
quick
going
bio.
for. Jesus. Holy shit. Quick little bio, just background. Last artist we're kind of going to talk about and I don't quite know how to pronounce my man's last name. I should have done a little googling on this. I'm sorry I didn't. Is Matt, I'm going to say Lewis, but I don't actually know if it's maybe like
Louis.
Luis or Louis or like I feel like pronunciation changes. I don't quite know. I'm very
Right.
sorry. I should have
I
googled.
never know how to say Lewis when I see it because I'm like,
Right.
is it Lewis
I never
or
know.
something else?
Well, because when it's spelled like Louis, I don't know. There's no context for me because it can be any of
Yes.
them. I don't know.
Like it put some sort of mark. We
Uh-huh.
used to put marks on everything.
Right.
Put them back.
Put the marks
Actually,
back.
don't put them back because I don't want to write. I don't want to remember all those.
I
Too.
don't.
Don't put them back. I'll just guess.
I'll
Thanks.
guess. Correct me, but I'll try and do the research next time. Sorry.
Exactly. Yeah.
I got too sucked into the man himself and I didn't do my normal Googling of names and such. So sorry about that. So I'm just going to say Matt from here on out. Matt, who is Puerto Rican and debuted in I don't like 2022 or something. So like we're talking a much newer artist in the industry in the grand scheme of things. Newer. I think Sarah technically debuted like 2021 maybe. So like not far off from Sarah, but Sarah had also been doing music her entire life as did he. So, newer to the industry per se. But is on sort of the total Matt on the total flip side of what we've been talking about in terms of the like embracing of the not what's expected, but you know what I mean of the
The queer expectation.
Right? Maybe.
The
Yeah,
yeah, something like that.
something like that. Kind of. We'll get into that, but something like that, right? We're hitting the sort of
Like
other end of the spectrum.
maybe like choosing the queerness to be the main focal
The
point
focal
or
point. Yeah.
artistic focal
Yes.
point.
And
Yeah.
I have reasonings for this. I could talk about this man for a while, and so we will get into all of these things. But that's why we're discussing him. And so I showed you is a few of the music videos of him earlier, right? So just real quick, general first thoughts, maybe if you got any or anything to say overall before we get into it. If not, that's fine too. Feel free to say fuck off. I wasn't prepared.
Yeah. Fuck off. No. I would never say that to
You put
you.
on the spot, damn it.
I would say that to many people, but probably
Oh,
not you.
probably
Um,
not. Depending. Maybe sometimes it's deserved. Who knows? It's fine. I'm sure
only if
you
you
had a
like
good
run
reason
me
if you
over.
said it. Yeah.
Yeah. It has to be kind of extreme.
I'm sure you
Um,
have a reason. It's okay.
um,
It's
because
a good first impression.
half half of it, what you said was right. I was not prepared.
Right.
So
I
my
know.
brain is like, and I don't
That's
know.
why I
I
said
don't
feel
know
free
if
to tell me.
anybody. I don't know if anyone does this, but like as soon as I'm asked a question, like I would
Right.
have thoughts and opinions and feelings beforehand, but as soon as I'm
Uh-huh.
asked in a public setting, my brain's like,
Yup. Yup. It's exactly.
every
No
time.
worries. I figured putting you on the spot and asking would do that, but I thought I'd ask anyways, just in case. But so to that end, then quickest also little blurb about you guys for Matt. He is Puerto Rican, right? So Latin, but also is a black man, and so lives in this world just for everybody to have context on that for the discussion that we're about to have. I feel like
Good. Yeah.
might make things make sense because I just now realized this is not a visual thing. So I
Maybe it should be
usually
a visual medium.
right, maybe
Maybe
that
it
would have been
should
better because
be.
I was thinking about it and I was like, maybe it would be good to put a blurb on that just so everybody understands what's about to happen.
Right.
Because I don't know that everybody's Googling him as we're talking about him, but honestly, you should because you might rather look at him while you're listening to us. I don't know.
He seems pretty cool.
I'm just saying.
Pretty cool as fuck. That's all I'm saying.
Right. That's all I'm saying. So I did a thing in which I showed you 3 specific videos of him in a specific order. I showed you his sort of like debut music video, kind of, which was now that I even wrote down the name of it too, but now that I'm trying to say it, I'm gonna
Oh
forget
no.
what it is. I think it's Todos Dios, but maybe don't quote me on that guy. Sorry, but the debut one, which was from about 4 years ago, the music video specifically, or it was like one of the early ones. So 4 years ago, and then I showed you one from 1 year ago, roughly, and then one from like a month ago. So we
Right. So
hit
chronological, but also like
chronologically.
least gayest to most gayest order.
Correct. Yes, that is exactly what I was getting at. It went from least gayest to most gayest, which I was about to ask you because I told you nothing about this when I did this to you. I just said take note from one thing to the next, right? Like, note the differences, and that's kind of first impressions is that it does go from least gay to most gay. Is pretty spot on. Not just in terms of like the fact that we now have another man as like the main music
Right.
video,
Right.
right?
No,
But
it's not the only thing.
not the only thing. But what else did you notice, or anything you can think of and pull out of your head now that I'm asking
The
you?
dance movements,
Mm-hmm.
the body movements. They
Yes.
went, and I listen. I was a very because I know I was silent during all of this, right? Because I was trying to
Yes.
reserve how I felt, and like now that like we're talking about it, my brain's like, oh yeah, you had thoughts and feelings, didn't you? You little shit. Fucking anyway, that's always how it works.
Always.
But um, I was absolutely eating it up because there was something in a lot of the dance moves where there was like and in particular where I saw this fluidity, you know what I mean? I mean, like, the
Mm-hmm.
dancing was very fluid, it was very nice, very sharp,
It was.
but very like smooth and wonderful, a professional truly, but also almost this like fluidity between genders.
Mm-hmm.
And I I
Yep.
can't describe it, it just y'all need to watch.
Oh, don't worry. I
It's
can
very nice.
describe it because
Oh,
in
do
a
it.
whole interview because I went down rabbit holes on this man, but in an interview in which I was getting some information from, they talk about this exact thing that we've noticed.
Mm.
And we talk about in the first, even just appearance wise, right? In the first one, he's his hair is like this platinum blonde buzz cut, like it's short, it's
Mhm.
more.
Kinda Eminem vibes.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's even the clothing that we're wearing is different, right? And he's constrained mostly to small rooms that cage him in. He's like in that bathtub, he's hiding, he's making himself really small, he's pulling his knees up to his chest. Like it's very the body language is just someone who's like trapped inside his self.
Mhm.
And that's what's being discussed in this interview, right? And then, skip to even 3 years later, not the most recent one that I showed you, but the middle one, where he collabed with the woman in the video. Where in this one, we've suddenly, like, our style has changed entirely, right?
Mhm.
Where hair is long, his body is just like frenzied. He's looser. He's feeling more secure. It's like dancing and flailing. It's in open spaces. It's like a complete 180, right? We've flipped everything we could on its head. Even the clothes are looser, right? Like
Mhm.
if you pay attention to that, even the clothes feel looser somehow. And it's an entirely different vibe. And then skip to like the most recent one, which is specifically, as I recall it, the one that I showed you, that last one. But it's reimagining Juan Gabriel's legacy through this contemporary queer lens. And it's more theatrical and it's vulnerable and it has this like cultural statement that he's trying to make with it. So even that is a completely different vibe because it's this story, right? This reimagining of things. So now we have context for all of these.
Now we have context.
Now we have context. But I wasn't going to throw that out there with you before you watched them because you can see those differences
You
not knowing
can,
anything
yeah.
about it.
Mhm.
And it's a fascinating watching someone evolve in the industry.
Mhm.
And I don't have another way to phrase that. Like it's truly
No, yeah.
fascinating.
It is a fascinating and kind of exhilarating.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
There's something about it that's just like, yes, everything that you're doing, continue.
Continue.
It surprised me again. I love it. It makes me feel like Anton Ego in
Yes.
Ratatouille. It's like I took a bite and now I'm seeing my mother's home. Well, maybe not my mother's,
Right.
but
No, no,
seeing
no. But But yes.
But it's great. It's great.
But it's great. It's good. We're seeing somebody else's mother's home. I don't know who, but
Antonigos, apparently.
we're seeing Anton Ego's mother's home. Yes. Um, yeah. Well, and so, and this is just like I showed you the lens of this evolution just through the music videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to hear something fascinating about the lyrics?
Tell me.
So, not skipping back, jumping back to our first one, right? In the beginning, the songwriting was very ambiguous. We opted for a lot of like either leaving out the pronouns or doing like very gender neutral things to make it very questionable as to whether or not we were discussing, you know, a female lead or a male lead or, you know,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. There was none of that. And it was just all very questionable, right? There was this
Mm-hmm.
big gray spot. And that evolved over time to be very, very specific, right? To be, I mean, you saw that last music video, but like the writing itself evolved to be like there was no question about
Mm-hmm.
who he was talking about and what he was saying. And
Right.
that also is fascinating to me because
It's so on brand. It's so on theme. It's just like
oh
more
dude,
layers. It's like
layers.
peeling back the layers of this
Well,
onion.
because he told this story in an interview. I went through so many interviews with this guy. I dug up a lot of stuff. He told this story about he was at a bar and it was just this random experience at a San Juan hangout, and a very clearly drunk man apparently recognized him and started talking to him about his music and was saying like, man, I want to know more about Matt, like give me details. And like Matt was like, yeah, okay. Like we're getting feedback on art, like generally speaking artists, like we don't really take, like we appreciate feedback, and I say we just through the lens of a writer, not necessarily a songwriter but a writer. Like feedback comes in, but it doesn't necessarily change how you feel about the way you're doing things, right? Like it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily make you want to be like, yeah, okay, because everybody has an opinion, right?
Right.
But he said that time he felt like the guy was right and it was time for him to move away from the ambiguity and be more specific. And
Mm.
so he, because of this random drunk man, changed just everything.
That's amazing. That drunk man was like his fairy godmother.
Literally. Oh, to have a drunk man as your fairy godmother. That's crazy. Because I think what he said was, uh, quoting, the human experience is everywhere. I don't doubt a straight man or woman can experience or identify with what I'm singing. But when you're specific, you're communicating the exact feelings of what you as an artist are going through. And being more intentional about using pronouns will definitely paint a clearer picture of who Matt is and what Matt is experiencing. Also, it was because I embraced who I am, which is the most important part. I
Oh,
know. I know.
we love you, Matt.
Literally. I just want to give him a hug. Because it's
Happy Pride, Matt.
happy pride. Happy pride. And this is just the songwriting in the videos, right? He, there are so many rabbit holes to him creating his image, curating his image, trying to figure out himself through
Yeah.
his image. Like he's embracing this side of things, but he's doing so in pursuit of figuring out who he is and becoming comfortable with himself. And that
Mm.
is just the most glorious thing I've ever heard. Like if that's the way you're going to approach it, you're also like healing something within yourself.
Yeah. It's like it's not only are you doing this like external artistic project, you're also doing this internal healing project at the same time.
Exactly,
And I love that.
because let's not forget he's a black Latin man in Puerto Rico. So it's
Yeah.
not like he's embracing something that is widely accepted. Like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's a very specific thing that he's doing. And for a long time, actually, fun fact for you, he was a photographer and was like
Ooh.
mad good at it. Like this is how he started. And he is the firm believer in, you know, you don't have to stick to one craft per se, but the photography was really helping him get into the industry, right? That was how he's doing his
Mm.
things. And when he started saying he wanted to make music, it was no, you need to do your own stuff. He was working with a lot of straight people, so that queer presence not accepted. And they preferred
Right.
that the queer man, the queer black Latin man, because again, this is the industry he's working in, right? He's not in America per se. You know what I'm saying? Not in mainland. And they preferred for him as a queer man to be doing the makeup or for the photography rather than being the musician or the
Right.
producer.
Stay behind the camera
Right.
rather than be in front.
Right. And so for a long time he did. He worked with like a lot of, I mean, he went on tour with people as their photographers. He took photos for a lot of people. He worked with a lot of people. He got into and did this work and was great at it. And I'll have to show you some of his photos later cuz wild work. But he just wanted to make music and so he just did. And again, I love that cuz you're just healing that part of yourself that's been told no for so long. And that he had to start out with that ambiguous lens just makes me sad. The big sigh.
Having such a moment over here. I was
I
like,
could
I'm
tell
ready to fucking, hey,
that
listen, it's ride or die for this
we're about
guy
to
right
get
now.
fights. We're about to get in fights for a second.
They about to throw my ass in jail after what I'm about to do.
Oh, it's so funny. But literally, right? Like, but literally, like, what? Are you, why? Why are we feeling this way? Why are we doing this? But it's okay though, because he is growing into his own, and he is doing his thing, and he's gotten to this place where his entire sort of point right now with his work is to challenge the Afro Latin masculinity stereotypes with his music, which is like an R&B and like Afro Caribbean and like electronic sort of mix of things. Like
Hmm.
he likes to mix genres and is very clear about that and is mixing these elements and both musically and visually, I guess. Like it's all in the pursuit of challenging those stereotypes and being able to embrace who he is. And another thing he'd said was that he loves the idea of you know people seeing such a like masculine body because he is like
Hmm.
ripped, guys. I mean, he's serious about the gym, which I'll get to that in a
Dude's
second.
fucking jacked.
He's jacked. Again, I'll get to that in just a second. But like of seeing this masculine body being so comfortable with his femininity especially in the Latin community, because people aren't used to seeing Latin men be so in touch with their feminine and vulnerable sides. Again, this is what he said and talking about. And
And it's so important. It's so important too because your gender doesn't need to be tied to what your physical body looks like.
right.
It's not. It don't need to be tied to that. It's not about that.
It's not at all. But he talks about this too. Because, I mean, it's you can clock it immediately, right? Especially in like the newer stuff, right? Like that last video I showed you in that span of 3. I don't think he really had a shirt on the entire time. Maybe once he had a tank top on. But
Maybe
like,
once, but it went on for long.
it wasn't on for long, right? But he does this on purpose. He's not shy about showing it off and wants to. And this shape is this source of like pride for him because he started this journey due to like body dysmorphia, essentially. The idea was he didn't like himself and didn't understand himself and he wasn't comfortable in his own body. Again, a lot of context there about sexuality and the perception. What he said was, quote, essentially like, that it involves a whole lot of context about my sexuality and the perception of my blackness from myself and people around me, and that creates uncomfortable sensations about how you feel in your body. And so the photography allowed him to discover all these things that he likes about himself and going through, you know, making himself comfortable in his body with working out and the physique and the things. And then he said, so what if I extracted that confidence from the camera and gave it life? And that's how we've ended up in this vibe. Like that's how we've ended up where we're at. I love him so much. I love him so much.
That's an artist.
Literally. Like I just, everything is it's one of those things where like when you're looking at it visually and you don't know any of the context and you see all the changes and you're like, yeah, okay, like that's cool and he's getting more comfortable and he's making this choice, but not knowing the context is almost an injustice because there's so much there that tells you who he is as an artist.
It's a lot. It goes a lot deeper. It does.
So much, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you didn't think we were going to be going down this whole rabbit hole when I showed you those.
I figured though. I figured because you're like, okay,
had a
he's the one
reason.
I'm gonna want to talk most about. So I was like,
I want to
okay,
talk about him.
so there's gonna be a lot to unpack here.
There's a lot
Ready?
to unpack.
Okay, understood.
Because I didn't want to make a whole episode about just one person or anything, but I
think it would
want
have
to
been a
talk
good
about.
episode.
He would have been a great episode, but the truth is, there's just not so much there to make a full episode, unfortunately, unless you're having a different conversation. But him as an artist is just fascinating. I mean, just absolutely fascinating. Like I can't get over. I just really want to know how his brain works when he sits to write, especially nowadays. You know what I mean? Like or to not to write even, but just to like put these things together, like because he's looking at it through all these lenses. Like he was also the photographer, and you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
it must be fascinating. That whole
Gotta
process.
be interesting. Be an interesting luncheon to have with
I
all
think
that
people
here.
are too. I agree.
Yeah.
I for sure.
Yeah.
But just to get talking about his project Gamma, which is of course out now because this was all previously, but this goes in with I think our overarching idea of representing yourself and being genuine to yourself, literally. And you're going to see why I've tied everybody together here. He said, again, quote, I'm black and gay, and that's too much for some people. I was thinking all that, but as soon as I pushed those thoughts out, suddenly my project started to feel more genuine. I was starting to feel more excited about what I was making. And I think that just encapsulates everything, that all of the little voices, both in your head and outside of, don't matter. It's about you and in the industry and putting yourself down on the paper and in the video and in all of the things, and that's where people are going to resonate with you, and that's where you're going to resonate with yourself. And I think that's what a lot of, not a lot of, but like what the artists that we've talked about today have in common is making music or art or whatever we want to say that's genuine to themselves and existing in the world. And that's okay. You don't have to do more than that.
Yeah.
And also that album, Gamma, he described as sassy as fuck. And I just love that. So guys, go check out Gamma because 10 out of 10. It's excellent when that's how it's described.
Is this where we break out the icon comments?
I think it is. Yeah.
Icon. Yes.
Icon.
Finger coming. Yes, queen. Go
But
on.
no, because no. we say you don't have to be icon. This is just 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Yeah,
10 out of 10.
it's good. But also yes, though I guess maybe because he's existing in a really specific space with queerness and blackness and Latinness. I don't. That's not a word, but that's a very specific Afro-Latino-ness. That's a very specific area in which he's representing, and so that honesty, I think, is, needed in those spaces.
It is. Desperately so.
Yeah, that honesty specifically. So
But yeah.
So
That
we've
was
ended on the
wonderful.
happy.
Yes.
Sorry, I feel like I once again did do a full, rabbit hole down an artist. So I'm sorry about that, where I just talk and talk. But I could talk about him a lot.
He should have been an episode. He for real should have been an episode. That'd have been a good episode.
Well,
I mean, this was a good episode.
I was going to say, there's not actually anything else other than that, really. So it would have been a short episode, but
thank you. Thank you so much for such lovely information and nuance. Because people need that
nuance is
desperately.
good, I guess. Gotta have the things.
And thank you all for listening.
Yeah, I don't know
thank
if
you
we've
for-
done anything, but thank you for listening. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've done a lot here, but thank you.
If you were nodding or shaking your head, that's cool. Thank you for just being here and listening. And we appreciate you. And you should leave your thoughts and feelings and anything you have to add or anything to detract or debate.
Yes.
No
We're-
being mean in the comments.
I was gonna say
Actual
asterisk on the
debating.
debate. Yeah,
Yeah.
debating welcomed. Actually, no,
Yes.
debating not welcome. Conversation welcomed.
Conversation.
Conversation.
Sure. Yeah.
welcome.
Yeah.
We don't need a debate, but a conversation is good. We are open to all conversations, and
Yes.
all other thoughts and ideas and all the things, because that's how we fucking learn, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
We gotta have different views.
Let's communicate.
Yeah. Communicate.
And also subscribe. That's also how you learn.
That is.
Did you know?
That's how you learn from us.
Subscribers to Inner Pop podcast actually gain 5 brain cells every
Actually
week.
do. Every week.
So subscribe.
they
gain
also lose 3. But that
knowledge.
doesn't,
Listen, it kind of balances out. It's
does.
still a net positive. Listen.
Exactly. Exactly right.
But thank you guys. Check us out over on our socials. Inner Pop Podcast on TikTok, on Instagram. We upload the podcast on YouTube, Apple
Mhm.
Podcast, Spotify, wherever you want to go, unless it's some weird, crazy place. Um, every Friday,
Mhm.
when
At
I
some
do
point.
it,
Yep.
you're welcome.
When it's there, you're welcome.
When it's there, just wait for it to magically
Yeah.
pop up.
Sometimes
But
Saturdays if
more,
you're in a weird country or
yeah, yeah. But more scheduled, we do
Mhm.
stream as
We
well
do.
every Wednesday over on YouTube at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. However,
Mhm.
this upcoming Wednesday, from when you'll be
Yes.
hearing this, we will not be streaming that Wednesday, but
Yes.
come back the
But
next week and we will
well,
return.
but come back that week anyways because we will still have some game content released for you. So come
Oh,
back that week.
yes. Yes, there will be
Yes.
videos up on the channel
Still
for
come
y'all to check
Wednesday.
out.
Yes. Still be here.
Yes,
There will
still
be
be
new
here.
content, just not
Thank
live content.
you. Thank you.
Yes, all the socials, all the things, all the streams we love and appreciate you guys so much. We do.
We do. And now
Happy Pride.
sleep good. Happy Pride. Sleep good this Pride. Sleep good this Pride.
That's right. Sleep
Yeah.
good this month. I wish you a cold pillow and sweet dreams.
Sleep good this Pride month with our new sponsor. I'm just kidding. I'm just, maybe one day.
Maybe we'll get there.
I'm just dreaming. I'm dreaming this Pride
With
month.
our
And you should be
Tempur-Pedic.
too. With our new sponsor. Listen, I'm ready for these sponsorship
I was gonna
deals,
say
bro.
we'll be great at sponsors. We'll do great. I just gotta give you an opening and the magic writes itself.
Oh, but thank
Alright,
you
guys.
guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And goodbye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.